The chilling night settled upon the small town as Officer Mark Sullivan embarked on his regular patrol. A sense of foreboding lingered in the air, hinting at the evil that dwelled within its boundaries. As he drove through the desolate streets, his radio crackled with static, echoing eerie sounds that sent shivers down his spine. Suddenly, a piercing scream echoed through the silence, jolting Mark from his thoughts. He rushed towards the source, his footsteps echoing in the darkness. The sound of the scream intensified, accompanied by the distant wails of police sirens. Mark arrived at the scene, a dimly lit alleyway. A cold gust of wind brushed against his face as he noticed a young woman cowering in the shadows, trembling with fears. Her eyes held profound terror that made Mark's blood run cold. "What happened?" Mark asked, his voice filled with concern. The woman struggled to speak, her voice choked with fear and tears. In fragments, she managed to explain that she had been attacked by a man in a dark wooded coat, a knife glittering in his hand. Determined to bring the perpetrator to justice, Mark called for backup. The sirens grew louder as his fellow officer arrived, their heavy footsteps adding to the tension in the air. Together, they combed the area, searching for any trace of the assailant. The flickering streetlights cast eerie shadows through the building, heightening their sense of unease. The night seemed to conspire against them, as if it knew the secrets it held. Hours passed, and exhaustion crept into their bones. Just as they were about to give up, Mark caught a glimpse of a figure disappearing into an abandoned building. With renewed determination, he led the way. As they stepped inside, the creaking floorboards announced their presence. The darkness swallowed them, broken only by the beam of Mark's flashlight. The sound of their footsteps reverberated in the cavernous space, intensifying the feeling of being watched. Suddenly, a metallic scraping sound echoed from above, followed by a low, chilling laughter that sent shivers down their spines. Mark's grip tightened on his flashlight as he exchanged glances with his fellow officers. They ascended the stairs cautiously, their hearts pounding in unison. The stench of decay filled the air, as if the building itself exhaled the horrors it had witnessed. With each step, the tension grew, culminating in the discovery of a hidden room. Inside the room, they found a collection of disturbing photographs, each depicting a different victim. The sheer number sent chills down their spines, revealing a twisted pattern of unsolved crimes that had haunted the town for years. As they studied the photographs, a cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing their flashlights. The darkness engulfed them, leaving only the sound of their pounding hearts. Panic set in as the officers fumbled for their backup flashlights. In the dim glow, they glimpsed a shadowy figure lurking just beyond the room's threshold. It watched them with grimy eyes, hungry for their fears. In a desperate attempt to protect themselves, they pursued the figure into the winding corridors of the warehouse. The darkness seemed to have a life of its own, shifting and pulsating with malevolence. Whispers echoed through the air, carrying an ancient language that sent chills down their spines. The officers pressed on, the weight of the unsolved crimes pressing heavily upon them. Finally, they cornered the figure in a small room, devoid of any space or escape. Its eyes burned with a fierce intensity, revealing the face of a notorious serial killer, the perpetrator behind the town's darkest secrets. A fierce struggle ensued as officers fought for their lives. The sounds of blows landing, grunts of pain, and the desperate pleas for mercy filled the room, mingling with the killer's manic laughter. With a final surge of strength, Mark managed to overpower the killer, restraining him until backup arrived. The relief was palpable, but the scars of that night would remain forever etched in their memories. The town breathed a collective sigh of relief as the truth was revealed. The unsolved mysteries that had plagued them for years were finally laid to rest. But the darkness still lurked, a reminder of the horrors that could manifest at any moment. Mark and his fellow officers were honored for their bravery, but they knew that true justice could never erase the darkness they had witnessed. They became guardians of the night, always ready to confront the horrors that hid in the shadows. The streets of the town slowly regained their calm, but the memory of that true horror story lingered, etching itself into the collective consciousness. The night no longer felt as safe as whispers of unsolved crimes carried on the wind. Even now, years later, the residents of the town still share the tales of the fateful night. They speak of the officers who faced the true horrors head-on, standing as a shield between their community and the darkness that threatened to consume them. Sometimes, when the wind howls through the alleyways and the shadows dance beneath the moonlight, they can't help but wonder if the true horrors have truly been vanished or if they merely lied dormant, waiting for their chance to strike once more. The memory of that night will forever haunt Officer Mark Sullivan, a reminder of the thin line that separates order from chaos, and the darkness that can lurk within even the most unsuspecting places. And so, the true horror story of that fateful night became a cautionary tale, a chilling reminder that evil exists in the world, lurking just beyond the edges of our perceptions. As dusk settled over the quiet town, Officer Jake Thompson received a distress call from a hiker lost deep in the woods. A sense of foreboding filled his chest as he ventured into the darkening forest, his flashlight guiding his way. The chilling wind whispered through the trees, as if warning him of unspeakable horrors that awaited. Crunching leaves echoed in the distance as Jack approached the location provided by the hiker. The forest seemed to close in around him, amplifying his senses. His heart raced when he stumbled upon a blood-stained piece of cloth. It was the first sign of something truly sinister. The officer's breath hitched as he uncovered a hidden clearing, illuminated by a pale moonlight. In the center lay a shallow grave, a silent testament to life brutally taken. Jake's mind revealed, knowing he had stumbled upon a chilling crime scene. A frigid gust of wind whistled through the trees, as if mocking Jake's determination to uncover the truth. He shivered, feeling the weight of the unknown closing on him. Searching for clues, Jake noticed a faint trail leading deeper into the forest. His instinct told him that the killer was still out there, watching, waiting. He followed the path, his footsteps echoing eerily in the scene of silence. A twig snapped in the distance, causing Jack's heart to skip a beat. He paused, strained to hear any sign of movement. The darkness engulfed him, making it impossible to see more than just a few feet ahead. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the night air. Jack's heart pounded into his chest as he sprinted towards the source. Each step felt like an eternity as fear gripped his every fiber. He stumbled upon a terrified woman, her face edged with unimaginable horror. She pointed trembling fingers towards the dense undergrowth. Her eyes gleamed malevolently in the moonlight. A predator was closing in. Gun in hand, Jake confronted the danger lurking in the shadows. He fired a warning shot, and the eyes disappeared momentarily. But it was far from over. The predator was merely biding its time. A low growl reverberated through the forest, sending shivers down Jake's spine. The creature emerged, a massive wolf with eyes that seemed to hold centuries of darkness within them. It circled, taunting the officer, its hunger palpable. Jake's heart pounded in his ears as he battled the primal fear threatening to overwhelm him. He had to protect the woman, defend himself, and confront the evil that hid within the forest depth. With nerves of steel, Jake fired at the beast, the shots echoing through the night. The creature yielded in pain, but refused to retreat. It lunged, teeth bared, claws slashing through the air. A desperate struggle ensued, a battle of survival between man and nature's fury. Jake fought with every ounce of strength he possessed, refusing to yield to the relentless beast. Blood stained the forest floor as they clashed. Finally, a well-aimed shot pierced the wolf's heart, bringing it crashing to the ground. The forest fell silent, the oppressive darkness lifting. Jake stood victorious, his heart heavy with the weight of what he had witnessed. As the first ray of dawn broke through the trees, Officer Jake Thompson emerged from the depths of the forest, forever changed by the horrors he had witnessed. The shadows whispered an haunting tale of true crime, reminding him that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places.